How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to learn how to saute mushrooms. They're perfectly delicious on their own as a side dish, but we'll also use them in future recipes, such as in stews and cream sauces, and so I figured I would do a standalone video on how to properly saute them. Today I'll be sauteing portobello mushrooms, which I've already thoroughly washed. Most kinds of mushrooms take well to a saute, such as the cremini or button mushrooms, or shiitake, or even baby portobellos. Whatever kind of mushroom you use, the sauteing method is exactly the same. In addition to our mushrooms, we have some butter and some cooking oil. We use both because we want the buttery flavor in our saute, but using only butter will give us too buttery of a flavor. So using a mixture strikes a nice balance. We've also got some salt and pepper, and a shallot, which we're going to finely chop. The first thing we do is chop our mushrooms. First, we trim off the end of the stem, and then chop the mushrooms into about 1-inch cubes. You want them to be roughly the same size, so they all cook evenly. Next, we mince our shallot. It's the same process as mincing an onion. We start by cutting the shallot in half lengthwise and peeling off the skin. With the half of the shallot laying flat, we make a series of slices in the shallot towards the root end horizontal to the cutting board without going all the way through. Then we make a series of similar vertical slices. Finally, we chop the shallot perpendicular to these slices, leaving us with a perfect mince. Now for the saute. We add about 1 tablespoon each of cooking oil, I'm using refined coconut oil, and butter. When that's heated up, we add in the mushrooms. Now I actually do have a few too many mushrooms and crowd the pan a bit. The danger with that is that it tends to make the mushrooms steam instead of brown as they release the water inside them as they cook. If you happen to crowd your pan, the way to remedy it is to keep the flame high. This makes the mushrooms a bit more high maintenance to saute because you have to keep them constantly moving so they don't burn, but if done right, they will brown and eventually shrink down to a more manageable amount. At first, the mushrooms will absorb all of the oil, and it's especially important to keep them constantly moving at this point. Eventually, they'll begin to release their liquid and shrink in size, before finally releasing all of the oil that they absorbed. At this point, we finish the saute with just a teaspoon of fresh butter. Add in our shallots, salt, and pepper, and then toss until the shallots begin to soften. They burn easily, so this process should only take about a minute or two max of constant movement. Once they're finished, remove them from the pan and either serve them as a delicious side dish or save them for use in another recipe, such as in a stew or a pan sauce. And that's it!